Toni Saunders here, and welcome back to my passion. Happy New Year's, everybody. Now, I left you with a task to do to be able to spend some time during the holiday with your child who has disabilities, helping them learn a little bit more than what they learned in school. I said that it was something that should be done during breaks. You should be spending time with your child, reading, writing, doing math, anything, just to keep their brains going. Not that they stop, but playing with toys is not exactly teaching, right? Unless it's a computer of some kind that they got for Christmas with things on it that are going to teach them. I think that that's important, and I said so my last communication with you. So let's talk about what you did over the vacation. I want you to think about it. I know you can't tell me, but you certainly can think about, what did I do to teach my child something new? Even if it was going out into the woods and looking at plants that may or may not be known to the child. Everything can be a teaching moment. And I think that it's important for you to understand how much it means to your child's education when you take responsibility as well as the teachers during the school year. But they need to know that you're a part of their learning. It's important for you to be a part of their learning. So, today we're going to talk about sensory integration, and that has to do with the federally recognized disabilities. Sensory is one of them. And we're talking about, for example, seeing. So, blind. Hearing. So, deaf. We're talking about autism, having sensory integration dysfunction. All of those and more have to do with your senses. Even speaking has to do with your senses. Now, the school district may say to you that your child has a sensory integration dysfunction disorder. I want you to know what that is. There is something hindering your child's progress in school that has to do with one or more of the senses. Think about this for a minute. If your child doesn't hear well and can't listen to the teacher and know what they're saying, what would they need? I'll tell you what they would need. They would either need a placement with people who are learning sign language, or kids who would need extra help with understanding what was being said, like a FM system, for example. There are things that can be done to allow a student to be in the same classroom as other students. And I'm talking about not putting them in a sub-separate placement just because they're hearing impaired or speech impaired. The place that your child should be is in a placement where they can understand what's going on. Typically, it's a regular ed classroom with accommodations and modifications. But sometimes it has to be in a different setting. And that's only if they cannot make any progress, no progress, in a regular education classroom because of their disability. You want them to be with kids, with peers who can help them and understand them, with teachers who help them and understand them. And the teacher has to be able to teach the disability. Now, let's say the child has a speech impediment and the teacher doesn't understand a word the child is saying. What do? What would you do? What would you want for your child? I would want a placement that is conducive to my child learning. So the teacher has to be the right type of teacher. The kids have to be the right kind of kids to be around with your child's disability. And I'm saying that because there's so much bullying and so many kids who don't accept kids with disabilities. And I think that's another issue that we should talk about on another playing field. We need to teach children how to include all children. We do. It's important. It's more than important, because you don't want your child growing up to be a bully, not accepting people because they're different. They may look different, sound different, speak differently. It's their life. They didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be disabled. No, they didn't. They didn't even know they were disabled, that they had a disability. Disabilities are either seen or not seen, experienced. Yes, they are experienced not only by the person with the disability, but by the people around him, his peers. So teaching them how to honor all people is pretty simple. Keep your eyes on peers who don't have disabilities. If they're laughing at a child with a disability because they don't speak right according to the child, then we gotta nip that in the bud. We have to stop the bullying completely. It's not fair. And what's even not fairer is a child who is allowed to bully because of a disability. Sensory disabilities are difficult. Of course, accommodations, modifications, whatever is needed should be given to them. But you have to take away the bullying piece, because your child will not understand what's going on, why they're being bullied. So different sensory goals will allow them to hopefully make progress. But if the other side is not taught not to laugh at, not to pick on, if they're not taught that, then the child with the disability is going to be the one who suffers and won't want to go to school and won't want to go to certain classes. And that's not fair to them because they don't get the education. Talk to your child. If they've got issues with speech and hearing and whatever else, anything else, talk to them. Are they being bullied in school? You need to know, because you're the only one who can help by becoming the mama bear and putting your foot down. You will keep these kids from doing X, Y, or Z to my child. You have to start somewhere, and it's definitely you. Communication, always. And I'm saying always. Not always, but always. You have to make sure your child is happy, getting along with other kids. One of the things I notice in school, they have a table for kids with disability. A table. One table. And that's where, yeah, they feel comfortable, but they're separated. I suppose a child who can't communicate the way that all the other kids can communicate feels different. But the thing is, they're not different, they're just kids. And the typical kids have to realize that they should not be bullying other kids. So I suppose this sensory thing has to do with how other people treat you, how other people see you. As a child with a disability, how they treat you. It's not a good feeling to come home every day after being bullied by other kids in the school. But understand, bullying in Massachusetts is not allowed. That's why it's so important to talk to your child when they come home from school. How was your day? How were you treated? Did you learn something? What did you learn? What? Tell me. Teach me what you learned today. You can't ignore what's going on outside. Your child cannot ignore it either. And especially your child. So make sure whatever the disability is, whatever the sensory issue is, you need to teach your child that you're there for them. And you will make sure that they have an appropriate classroom, an appropriate teacher to teach beyond what they learn in school. You know, sometimes the bully is the student with a disability, but you have to see why they're doing it. Why is this coming out? If they can't do something and they're bullied for it, they may turn around and start bullying other kids because they can do something. Try to understand your child's disability and what they're going through in school. I just took a kid out of school completely to be homeschooled because he was being so bullied and his parents didn't know what to do. So I said, pull him, take him out, homeschool. There's online school. But you have to know what's wrong. You have to know what your child is going through. And if they're coming home depressed, don't be quick to put an emotional disability on them. Actually find out what's going on. Why is your child not learning? And then once you have the answers, you know what to do. So Happy New Year's, everyone. I know that wasn't all about sensory, but I'm finding that a lot of kids with sensory issues are going through hell by some of the other students. It's time to save the children. And you're the one. And it's okay because you love your child. Help them with whatever it is they're going through. Happy New Year! Happy New Year. This is going to be a great year for everybody concerned. And you keep listening to me talk about these things. What is happening? And you will learn how to help your child learn. So that's it. And subscribe. I have a lot more to say. Happy New Year.